My next guest is going to be taking on Jimmy Crute coming up here at UFC 261 on April 24th. It's Anthony Lionheart-Smith back here on the program. Anthony, how's it going, man?
Good, man. I just got out of practice and excited to sit down and talk to you. How you been?
I've been great. How's your car doing? We talked about this yesterday. We were supposed to have the interview. Your car broke down. Everything okay? That's the main thing here, you know?
Yeah. The radiator blew all the hoses. So it's getting fixed right now, so we are good to go.
Did you have to hitchhike to the gym, or how'd you do it?
No, I'm just taking Ubers right now. So actually here in about 10 minutes, my ride will be here, so you guys might be going on a ride with me.
All good. We'll go on the journey here. This matchup kind of worked out well for you because I know you wanted to fight Jimmy. He was supposed to fight Johnny Walker, and now you get the fight anyways, just with the date moved. How happy were you to get the matchup?
I like the matchup, man. I'm a fan of how Jimmy Crute fights. He engages the fight everywhere. You don't got to worry about him trying to hide out and hide some, certain part of his game. I'm positive he's going to want to attack certain parts of mine, but I think he'll engage the wrestling, the jiu-jitsu, he likes to strike in the pocket. He's big, strong, heavy-handed young kid, man. I'm really excited for this fight.
Now, he was supposed to fight on March 27th. This fight, like I mentioned, moved to April 24th. Did they ever pitch you that original date, or was it always going to be April 24th?
Yeah, they did initially. You either, kind of the way that I operate, I either ask for an opponent or a date.
Yeah. And
you can't ask for both. So,
right. Understandable, yeah.
I was looking for a fight, and this was the date and time frame I wanted. Johnny Walker fell out. They offered me this fight, and I was fine with the fight. I just didn't like the date. So as long as he was willing to wait and push his own fight back, then I was willing to do it.
Obviously, very dangerous opponent. He's got great stand-up. He's pretty much good everywhere. He's got the one loss, and that was a submission loss. How do you feel like you match up against him here?
I think I match up great everywhere. He's obviously younger and probably more explosive because that's just his style. I obviously have the ability to be explosive, but that's just not really my game. But I truly believe that I'm more technical everywhere. I think that the trump card is that he's just crazy strong and super powerful. He's really tight in his boxing. He doesn't make a lot of mistakes there. Seems to be like he's really hard to take down. I'm honestly, I know it sounds crazy, but I'm really a fan of how he fights. It's interesting. It's this newer breed of fighter that just doesn't really care where they fight. They just fight the fight in front of him. And I think I'm the older version of that. I think I've always fought that way.
Seems like there's a lot of respect ahead of this fight. I know not the same way when Crute was fighting Johnny Walker. It seemed like there was some bad blood. Do you kind of get that sense leading into the fight?
Yeah, he's been super respectful. The call-outs have been respectful. He's been a nice guy. But Johnny Walker brings that stuff on himself. For whatever reason, a lot of people just have this beef with Johnny Walker, and it's because of the things that he says and the way that he kind of goes about his career. I don't have any beef with that dude, but I just don't give him the time of day.
Okay, understandable. Training camp, Dustin Jacoby just picked up a nice win. I know he's on a golfing trip right now, so I'm sure that's what he was telling me anyway. So who are you getting to work with right now?
I've been in there with Cody Brundage. There's obviously Josh Frem is here. This new kid from I believe he's from Philly, Basil. He is crazy tough. He's the CFFC welterweight champion, but he's a big kid. Really, really high-level black belt. It's been a lot of fun working with him. Very similar style to Jimmy. And just the normal crew here at Factory X. I'm waiting for Dustin to bring his ass back because he's out enjoying his win in golfing. But he promised me as soon as he was back, he'd be in here. Yeah, no, he's a loyal teammate there. Do you ever golf with him at all? He's a big golfer. He's good, man. Dustin's he's one of those guys. He's really good at everything. Yeah. Like he's great at fighting. He's a good golfer. He's good at cornhole. Like he's good at like all the little stuff that everyone wants to be good at, but no one actually is. He's a pretty good golfer.
In terms of the weight cut, we're way out from this fight. I mean, it's the 24th of April. When does that process start for you? Because I know obviously a lot better than cutting a middleweight, but I'm sure you do have to cut a little bit of weight for the fight.
Honestly, never really does.
No? Okay.
The week of the fight, I start trimming back on stuff and eliminating stuff from my diet, and the weight just kind of comes off. I might have maybe 10 to cut by the time I get to fight week, so nothing too terrible. In between, I've been really trying to change the kind of my diet and the way that I've been approaching stuff because I focused really hard on gaining weight for Devin Clark. So at the beginning of training camp, I was about 230, which I was really happy about, but I put on about 15 pounds, but I think 10 of it went to my belly. So, you've seen a lot of people talking about that, which is fine. It is what it is. But it's hard. It's hard, man. It's hard to put on good solid weight while you train as hard as you do. So like I just was eating everything in sight, trying to put the weight on, but that's kind of the process. You put it on and then you got to transfer it and you got to get it to change over. And we're working on it. We're getting there.
How do you see the fight unfolding on April 24th?
I don't know. I think that obviously I stubbed my toe a little bit last year and I finally got back on track, but I think you're going to see a little bit of the old me. I've kind of been back to my old self in training and my head's clear. I'm really happy. I'm happy to be here in training camp. It's just been really exciting for me. So, to be honest, I don't really know. It's up to him. If he wants to make it a striking battle, I've been working really hard on a lot of new things and really sharpening up some old things and closing some of those holes. It's obviously clear through my entire career. I've had some problems checking leg kicks. We're addressing that because now it's not just one guy here or there that lands some big leg kicks. Now it's become a pattern because people are starting to notice it. So we got to shore up that problem. So I don't know, man. I don't really know. I think that on the ground, I think he knows, and I know that, that I'm probably the more skilled jiu-jitsu guy. Obviously that didn't matter in the Rakic fight because he did a really good job of just kind of nullifying me and not putting himself in danger. That's also a hole that I need to shore up because if Rakic can do it, then other people are going to try. So we're just really working on that kind of stuff, man. I'm less concerned what he's going to do. I'm just really focusing on myself.
And it's kind of the case in a lot of your fights, but you do have a lot more fights than he does in terms of octagon experience. Do you think that will pay dividends in the matchup in terms of you being in those different situations and also the level of competition you fought?
Yeah. The one guy he's really fought that was at any sort of real level was Misa Cirkunov, and he kind of stubbed his toe a little bit. Now, again, I don't expect him to make those same mistakes, but I've been up and I've been down and I've been in the fire. I've been in there with the best guys in the world. I think the difference between Jimmy Crute and myself is that he's not going to show me anything that I haven't seen before or don't know how to deal with, and I don't necessarily think he can say the same thing.
Were you surprised to see Jan Blachowicz get the win over Adesanya, or did you sort of figure the fight might go that way if it went a bit longer?
No, if you look kind of back at some of my breakdowns of that fight, I was very much leaning towards Jan just because of the things that he did in the fight. I knew that he was gonna defend the leg kicks well, and Izzy wasn't gonna be able to dictate the range with just kicks alone like he has in the past. I didn't see Izzy. If you really go look how Izzy really has finished people recently, it's always been on the inside exchanges. He dropped Whitaker on an inside exchange where they were kind of in a firefight. Same thing with Costa. It was off of a counter on the inside. Derek Brunson was off of a takedown defense, but closer range. You can't if you're Israel Adesanya, you can't go 1-for-1 with Jan Blachowicz. You can't take one to give one, and up to this point, Izzy's been willing to do that, and I just didn't think he was going to be willing to do that. I figured he was going to want to touch. If he's not committing, it's going to let Jan Blachowicz get closer. So, and then obviously, I didn't know if Jan was going to be able to take him down, but Izzy was right away when I seen how Izzy was fighting. He was kind of overcommitting. He was reaching a lot. I knew that if Jan ended up on top, that's exactly where the round was going to end.
And do you think this kills any possibility of Jones and Adesanya at this point?
I think so right now. I think Izzy, rightfully so, was humbled a little bit. I think that he's taking it really well. It's really cool to see him, lose with class, but also have the balls to really say, all right, I bit off a little bit too much there. Maybe I'm not quite as big as I need to be. And styles and skill set aside, size matters, and he was willing to admit that. And if you think Jan Blachowicz is big, then you've never seen them standing next to John Jones. That dude is a monster. So I think that puts the brakes on it for at least the next year or so.
It looks like Jones is going to get the winner of Stipe and Ngannou. Do you think he fights this year, or do you think it's going to take the crowds to come back and maybe some more money to get him back in there?
No, I think he fights this year. I mean, I don't know how he spends his money or anything like that, but no one wants to sit on the sidelines, especially when you're putting in all this work. You want to showcase it. So I wouldn't be surprised to see them fight at the very end of the year.
I'm glad I get to talk to you right now because obviously the big news out of UFC 259 isn't Israel Adesanya. It's this DQ win for Aljamain Sterling. You were in a similar position with John Jones. What was your take watching that and sort of the aftermath of everything?
I'm not going to get into the whole, was he faking? Was he not faking? Was he as hurt as he said? There's no reason for me to get into that. And no matter what I say, people are going to twist it like I'm shitting on Aljo. So I'm not even going to get into that. But what I will get into is I've been hard on refs. I have been. Never in my fights. You guys have never heard me say a ref was bad. It was a bad stoppage. He screwed me. I've never said that. I've always taken my wins or losses on the chin. So what I am saying is that I think referees need to have more responsibility, and they need to be willing to take more responsibility. You've never seen Tom Brady get sacked and end up with a roughing the passer, and then the referee talk to Tom, and so they can figure out what they're going to do. You make the call. That's your job. And I understand that these referees, they don't want to take a lot of heat. They don't. But if you don't want to take the heat, then you need a new job. And I don't care about how mean the fans are to you and what your Twitter mentions look like. You need to make sure that these decisions are made and it's not put on the fighter. I'm not going to judge anybody for making that decision. Like, is that the decision I would have made? No. But I'm not expecting everyone to live life the way that I live my life. That's up to him. It's up to them. So my problem is that Aljo should have never had to make that decision. Let's look at this and what I don't understand is why is the legality of the knee the issue and why he won't make the decision? Because had Aljo's knee been down or been up, but he was in the same position, he'd have stopped that fight immediately. Just basically off the reaction that Aljo had once he took it. Why does the legality of that knee change that? Because if you would have stopped it before, if it was a legal knee because he was too injured to continue, why wouldn't you do it right away? Because it was illegal. I don't understand that. I know why. It's because the refs don't want to take the fight into their own hands because they're afraid of people being mean to them on the internet. So, lastly, I'm so sick of referees punting off the issues to the cage side doctor. If we're gonna pretend, because this is what we're doing apparently, we're gonna pretend that you're so experienced and you're so knowledgeable in this sport that we're gonna task you with stopping fights when people can't continue, right? But then all of a sudden there's a foul and you start looking around, you're lost and you're looking at the table and you're looking at the commission and you're trying to find a doctor. Like, what you should be doing is you should know what the fighter looks like when they're injured. You should know when it changes. You should know the look on their eyes. You should know their mannerisms. I know that Aljo was hurt when he first took that knee, and I've never reffed one of his fights. So if I know that, then Mark Smith should know that. He should know exactly what his reactions are. But they just want to pass the buck because they don't want to deal with it. So like, oh, please bring the doctor in. You're going to tell me that this doctor is more experienced in what a fighter looks like when he's injured and probably can't continue than you? If that's the problem, then the doctor should be the goddamn ref. And it drives me crazy. Like, if you're not going to make those hard decisions and protect people and not force them to make terrible decisions, then what are you doing? What are you doing? Like, honestly, at the end of the day, we don't need you. Like, we could have someone on the outside, like, yelling at us because we police ourselves in the gym every single damn day. Like, we could almost do this without you. Outside of the cowboy kind of guys that like to break the rules and the assholes with the finger pokes, other than that, we don't need you. Because if I low blow someone, it happens in the gym all the time. You just stop and you let them fucking clear it, and then you keep going. Like, if you're not going to make those hard decisions, I'm not exactly sure why referees are even there. I do think, and I don't want to crap all over Mark Smith because I think, given the rules and the way things are done right now, I don't think he did an awful job. I think he took too long to make the right decision, and I think aesthetically it made Aljo look awful. Which again, that's the decision they made. That's fine, but I don't think he did an awful job. I do think that if you had Jason Herzog in there, or you had Keith Peterson, or maybe one or two other guys, I don't think that it goes that way. I just can't for the life of me think that someone takes that knee like that with Jason Herzog. I think it takes 5 seconds for him to see the condition of the fighter and calls the fight. I 100% believe that.
Couple rapid fire questions that we'll get out of here. Khamzat Chimaev, everything we've seen, do you think he stays retired, or do you think it's just, he needs some time to kind of reassess things? Because obviously COVID's really hurting him pretty badly.
I think if he can get through the COVID symptoms and gets back somewhere close to where he was before, I think we do see him again. Man, I've been through it with injuries. You feel like when you try to do what you used to do and you're not the same, it's really depressing, man. So I think he was kind of in his feelings, and I think he just needs some time. He needs to stay off of social media. He needs to focus on his health, really relax, sit down. But it's a mental disaster when you're used to being such a savage and all of a sudden you're not.
Who has the toughest chin in the UFC besides yourself?
I mean, Jan Blachowicz is pretty good if you take out the Thiago fight. John Jones is pretty good.
Yeah, actually, Jones was one I was thinking of as well. Yeah.
Yeah, John Jones is pretty damn good. Man, I just watched a fight. Oh, the kid that fought Alexander Hernandez. I was pretty impressed.
Thiago Moises, yeah.
Thiago Moises, that dude's got a pretty good beard on him too. Because I know how hard Alexander Hernandez hits, and he took every one of those. Do you have any? Did you have anyone else in mind?
No. Those I was thinking Jones or yeah. I mean those are some of the ones. I mean Edgar had a great chin for a long time, and then it was just obviously whatever. Yeah. But no.
Well, Mark Honda had a great one for a long time too.
Yeah.
Roy Nelson had a great one for a long time. Yeah. So those are some of the pop in my head.
Have you ever played yourself in the EA Sports UFC video game yet? And if so, do you think it's accurate?
Dude, I at 205, so I'm in the game at 85 and 205. At 185, I am so slow, which might be true. I'm not sure. You know, I guess I don't know how people how they view my fight style or my speed of my game, but I have got crazy power at 85 and 205. So I'm super slow. I got a pretty good chin in the game. My grappling is okay in the game, I suppose. I'm not very good at the grappling part of the game, but it is really funny how much I'm crazy powerful and have a pretty good chin, but I'm slow as shit.
Anthony, thanks for having me along for your Uber ride today. Really appreciate it, man. I know you got to get to practice and your radio show as well. Just remind people where they can get a hold of you on social media. And if you got any sponsors or shout outs, I'll give you the last word.
Yeah. Obviously on Instagram and Twitter, it's Lionheart A. Smith. You can listen to me Tuesdays from 6 to 8 Eastern on Sirius XM channel 156. I'm headed to go and do my show right now. And then, yeah, that's it, man. Just hit me up. I'm around.